Hello, this is Mark Satterfield, and welcome to the Velvet Rope Playbook. Tonight's chapter: A Miracle in a Can: How Spray-On Hair Outsold Dignity. There are few phrases in the English language more ridiculous than spray-on hair. But in the late 1980s, spray-on hair wasn't a joke. It was a multi-million-dollar empire, and it sold for one reason: hope has better margins than shampoo. So let's set the stage. You be watching Wheel of Fortune, and then bam, there he was. A man in a shiny suit, standing next to a balding volunteer, holding a can that looked like spray paint. He'd shake it, give the guy a few generous spritzes, and voila! 30 seconds later, the man on screen had hair, or something resembling it. The announcer would gasp, "It's the revolutionary new product, GLH, great looking hair." And America said, "Yeah, that seems legitimate." GLH was literally colored microfibers mixed with a propellant, basically aerosol optimism. It didn't regrow hair, it camouflaged the battlefield. Rain? Dangerous. Wind? Catastrophic. Romance? Well, not recommended. But for a few glorious hours, you could stand in front of the mirror and think, maybe no one will notice. And if that isn't the entire human condition, I don't know what is. The founder, Ron Popeil, wasn't selling follicles. He was selling a feeling. His commercials followed the oldest story in marketing: humiliation to transformation to applause. Charles Atlas did it with biceps. Popeil did it with aerosol. You'd see the before shot, the sad comb over. Then, psh, suddenly, he looked like a regional sales manager who still had hope. Cue applause, cue phone number, cue America reaching for its wallet. Now, if you love the psychology behind these glorious marketing disasters turned empires, and you want to use some of the same emotional levers to attract affluent clients, well, go to getwealthyclients.com. There's a vault of programs, books, and free resources that will teach you to sell transformation without a spray can. Now, the GLH infomercial wasn't subtle. It featured real users, which is to say, men who looked like they'd been recruited at the bowling alley. One guy sprayed the top of his head, smiled, and said, "It's like magic." But the key moment wasn't the product shot, it was the reaction shot. The smile, that fragile, radiant belief that maybe, just maybe, life had second chances. That's what we bought. We didn't want hair as much as we wanted to feel like we could edit reality with a can. Look, every marketing era has its absurdity. That said, spray on hair teaches the eternal rule: people will buy almost anything that temporarily erases their insecurity. And the word temporarily is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Luxury marketers do the same thing. A $10,000 watch says, "I'm still relevant." A $5,000 handbag says, "I'm still desired." And a 1999 can of GLH says, "I can still get that girl." Same motivation, different demographic. Now, every GLH spot had three acts. Act one, the pain, close up of the scalp. Act two, the promise, just spray and stay young. Act three, the phone number. And that number never left the screen. It glowed in the corner like divine instruction because Ron Popeil understood the cardinal rule of direct response: never let the customer stop believing enough to remember what they're doing. It was hypnotic. You almost couldn't resist not dialing. Spray on hair is actually the perfect metaphor for most marketing. We're all painting a better version of ourselves and hoping no one notices the overspray. Your Instagram filter? GLH. Your photos done by AI? GLH. That authentic brand story you spent 3 hours editing? Definitely GLH. But it works because it's not about the product, it's about the promise. GLH sold millions. Celebrities mocked it. Late night hosts parodied it. And still, men kept ordering. Because deep down, we knew it was ridiculous, but not quite ridiculous enough to rule out. Hope will always outconvert shame. And spray on hair offered both in one convenient aerosol. Now, suppose they launched it today. Imagine the 2025 version. Introducing GLH 2.0, now powered by AI. A TikTok influencer would mist his head, wink, and say, link in bio. The comments would be full of skeptics and 2 million orders. Because in marketing, ridicule is just free reach. Well, look, we laugh at spray on hair, but honestly, I respect it. It's pure American optimism. If the problem is visible, paint over it and go outside. And really, who among us hasn't done that? In business, in branding, in life? We've all covered a thin patch with a clever story and hope no one looked too closely. It's spray on credibility. And sometimes that's all you need to get momentum. And speaking of spray on credibility, if you'd like to give your marketing a fuller, richer look, may I recommend a little digital GLH of your own? Go to Get Wealthy Clients. And remember, there's more. Call now, well, click. And you'll also receive instant access to my vault of courses, templates, and free training videos. It won't regrow your hair, but they will make your marketing look 10 years younger. Results may vary, especially in high humidity. Look, spray on hair eventually disappeared, replaced by newer miracles, laser comb, peptide serums, but the lesson endures. A product doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to give people permission to believe. Ron Popeil didn't sell aerosol. He sold a temporary truce with reality. And every brand, from Ferrari to fitness coaches, still does the same thing. Because at the end of the proverbial day, we're all just trying to spray over our insecurities long enough to chase the next big thing. So here's to the dreamers, the strivers, and the slightly shiny scalps. Spray on hair might have been absurd, but it worked. And that makes it the purest form of marketing there is. Because if you can make someone laugh, hope, and reach for their credit card in under 60 seconds, you've officially achieved what most brands spend a lifetime trying to buy. Attention plus emotion equals action. And one final plug, if you want a thicker pipeline of new affluent clients, well, head on over to getwealthyclients.com where there's a whole bunch of cool stuff for you. This is Mark Satterfield. Thanks for listening to this chapter of the Velvet Rope Playbook. I'll be back at you soon with something new. But until then, bye for now.